Today we're digging into the new US-UK trade deal.
Right.
And our mission, really, is just to understand what this deal actually involves for both sides, get past the headlines.
Absolutely. The announcement definitely framed it as a pretty significant moment.
It did. Okay, so where do we start? What's the core idea here?
Well, the term that kept coming up was reciprocity and fairness.
Reciprocity and fairness. Okay.
Yeah, it suggests they're aiming for a relationship that feels balanced, mutually beneficial, which, isn't always the headline for trade talks.
True. And a big piece of this balance seems to involve agriculture, right? Giving the U.S. more access to the U.K. market.
Definitely. They specifically mentioned beef, ethanol.
And virtually all farm products, I think was the quote.
That's the one. And having the Secretary of Agriculture there really underscores how important that is for the U.S. side.
So what does that actually mean on the ground? I mean, haven't there been issues before, like with beef standards?
Exactly. That's been a sticking point. So this deal likely tackles some of those regulatory hurdles, which, well, that would be a pretty big win for American farmers.
But potentially more competition for UK farmers.
Oh, undoubtedly. Yeah, more U.S. products coming in means more competition domestically for them.
Okay, moving on. The transcript also talks about the UK reducing non-tariff barriers. What exactly are those? It sounds a bit vague.
It can be a range of things, really. Not direct taxes, but other hurdles. Think specific regulations on products, maybe complicated customs procedures, different labeling rules.
Stuff that makes it harder or slower to sell American goods there, even without a tariff.
Precisely. Things that the announcement said unfairly discriminated against American products.
Yeah.
So easing those should, in theory, smooth the path.
And they're also planning to fast-track American goods through customs.
Yeah, quicker approval processes.
Yeah.
That directly tackles the time and cost involved in getting goods across the border.
Makes sense. Faster processing means U.S. goods might be more competitive.
Exactly. Time is money in trade.
The speaker announcing it called it a great deal for both countries, but also mentioned the U.K. market has been, quote, a little closed.
Right. That phrasing is interesting. It sort of implies the U.S. perspective is that the U.K. hasn't been as open, and this deal is meant to, level the playing field somewhat.
Okay. And it's not just farming industrial goods, too. Yeah. Chemicals, machinery.
Yeah, gaining new access
Yeah.
for products that were apparently restricted before.
So potentially significant for those U.S. industries?
Could be.
Yeah.
And for U.K. businesses, maybe it means more choice in sourcing those kinds of industrial inputs.
Which brings us to UK consumers. The idea is they get more choice, right? They can buy American if they prefer the price or the quality.
That's the pitch.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it comes down to what people actually choose to buy in the shops.
Now, this next part sounded quite different. Economic security alignment.
Ah, yes. That phrase stood out.
Described as historic, a first of its kind, creating a big economic security blanket. What do you think that actually entails? It's not standard trade deal language.
No, it's not. It likely goes beyond just buying and selling goods. It probably involves things like closer cooperation on securing supply chains,
Okay.
protecting sensitive technology, maybe even coordinating responses to economic shocks or threats. It signals a much deeper partnership.
So less about tariffs, more about shared economic strategy and resilience.
That's how it sounds. Linking their economic security more tightly together.
And they did emphasize the strength of the U.S.-UK alliance overall.
Right. Calling the UK certainly one of our greatest allies. These deals often have that geopolitical dimension, strengthening existing relationships.
So this is partly about reinforcing that alliance through economic ties.
Seems very likely, yes.
And finally, the status of the deal. The transcript said the details are being written up, but the deal itself is very conclusive.
Yeah, it sounds like the main agreements, the sort of core principles and commitments, are locked in.
So the handshake has happened. Now it's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Pretty much. The technical implementation details are probably what's left. The fundamental agreement seems set.
Okay, so to quickly recap, we're seeing a U.S.-UK deal built on reciprocity. Key elements are more UK market access for U.S. agriculture and industry, the UK lowering non-tariff barriers, faster customs for U.S. goods, and this deeper economic security alignment.
That sums it up well. It's trying to cover a lot of ground, moving beyond just traditional trade element.
Right. Which leads to a final thought. Given this focus on reciprocity and fairness and this move towards deeper security alignment, what kind of challenges or maybe ongoing negotiations might pop up as they actually try to implement all this? It feels like making it work day to day between two huge, complex economies could get tricky.